see that currently the market problem, the patient's problem is that there's a kind of so-called diabetic burnout syndrome. So people stop monitoring glucose levels because bearing every day with the pain and the discomfort of the traditional measurements is too big barrier for them. So this is the device that is responding to the problem of 95% of the population of people with diabetes, so type 2 diabetes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Agata Walendowska, and welcome to the third season of Startup Stories podcast. This season is especially important for us as a podcast because we celebrate our first anniversary. At this place, I would like to thank Futuron Technology, our partner and driving force behind the podcast. Thank you guys for your support and for being here. Are you ready to find out who is our first guest in the third season of Startup Stories podcast? Yes? So let me introduce Robert Stachurski, CEO of GlucoActive Startup. GlucoActive Startup is creating a device that diabetes monitoring home, posing a formidable challenge to traditional blood glucose test. So without any longer, hello Robert, and how are you today?
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm pretty fine, thank you. And thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you for being here, especially that you are the first guest in the third season of Startup Stories podcast. So, yes, thank you for being here. And I think that we can start with the first question. What does GlucoActive Startup do?
We are developing the technology of non-invasive glucometer. So the glucometer that doesn't require finger pricking, pain, that doesn't provoke a pain and discomfort for the patients. And our technology is based on optical methods, particularly Raman spectroscopy.
Okay, so how does this device work? How it help people with diabetes measure their glucose level in the blood?
Uh, like I said, this is a Raman spectroscopy, so the optical method of measurement. We are using a laser light with some special, let's say, wavelength that is irradiating the skin for a couple of seconds, and we measure with our detectors the reflection, and based on the reflection of the reflected light, we can determine what is the chemical composition of your skin, and based on this, we can look for a so-called fingerprint of glucose. Based on this, we can determine what is the concentration and other factors.
Okay, is that not danger for people in general? For people, is that, I don't know, doesn't influence in negative way that solution?
No, this is safe method. The laser that we are using is completely safe for the patients. We don't also break the continuity of the skin. So yes, we also prove it in the clinical in the clinical experiment on 60 patients that there is any side effects after usage of our solution.
Okay, and how can this device help people who suffer for diabetes?
First of all, it limits the barrier for daily glucose monitoring because, like I said, it is painless and it doesn't require any preparation for the patients. We see that currently the market problem, the patient's problem is that there's a kind of so-called diabetic burnout syndrome. So people stop monitoring glucose levels because bearing every day with the pain and the discomfort of the traditional measurements is too big barrier for them. They decide to abandon monitoring, and this is very dangerous phenomena because untreated diabetes is a real threat to health and even life of the patients. So yeah, by offering them the solution that doesn't have such a high barrier, we are also helping them in lifelong monitoring of diabetes, because diabetes, unfortunately, is on some level is not treatable. So this monitoring is the only thing we can do to avoid some negative side effects like health problems.
Okay, and I think the most people resign of the testing their glucose because of the pain, like you said. They only, I remember that my grandmother always really she told that her fingers are really in pain because of the testing blood. So what are the other advantages of that solution besides that this is painless?
Um, yes, other things is also that we don't generate, our solution doesn't generate any disposable components like strips and needles. So from the patient side, it is much cheaper in longer exploitation, because you don't need to repeatedly pay for the, I don't know, buying new sensors like with let's say CGMs. From the other side, it is also environmental friendly, because we don't generate any medical waste, and the market of medical waste generated by diabetic industry is huge, reaching a million of tons yearly.
Okay, so that's not only good for patient but also for the environment, and that's great. So, how long does it take to measure sugar level by with glucose station? It's shorter than regular device. That it's a little bit longer. How it look like in this case?
We can say that it is a little bit longer than traditional glucometers, which provides a result in an example 5 seconds. Maybe with all of the procedure of taking the blood, it could be 20, 30 seconds. Our solution is giving a result in about 40 seconds. Actually, from 20 to 40 seconds. It depends on the measured skin, because we don't have a set time of the measurement. The real measurement, mm, the one cycle, let's say, it takes about 5 seconds, but the device is making many different cycles, many different measurements in order to avoid any artifacts and mistakes in the diagnostics.
Okay, and I have a question because now the most popular and the most common way to measure the amount of glucose in the blood is pricking yourself for the blood sample. And I read some articles about that, and I found out that they are quite precious, but sometimes the result may differ by 20%. So how it is your case? So how does the solution look here? What is the percentage of mistake that can be shown in the results?
Mhm. Um, Actually, according to the let's say lawmakers, the measurement error to be so-called medical glucometer, the measurement error has to be lower than 15%. So all of the, let's say, strip glucometers, traditional most common glucometers are have the error below 15%, but there are some, let's say, CGMs like Freestyle Libre that has this error a little bit higher. In terms of glucose station, during the clinical experiments in 2021, we achieved the measurement error around 20%, which is not so bad, like I said, comparable with the solutions available on the market. However, in final devices that will be certified, we try to reach the threshold below 15% of the measurement error, because we want to be certified as a medical glucometer, so the highest grade of medical devices.
Okay, so how the changing this percentage of mistake look like in that device? What you have to do to like increase the level of this mistake?
Uh, yeah, we need to already we did we increased the resolution of the device itself. We needed to rebuild and make another iteration of prototype after the clinical experiment, because like I said, this was the conclusions that we made uh, from this experiment. And yes, this was not only that the device had the average error of 20% in the beginning, because this clinical experiment took like around 1 year, so quite long. And in the beginning, our device in the medical facility was measuring with the error around 10%, but during the time, this measurement error was increasing. So in the end, we reached the average of 20%. So this was not the only reason why we didn't commercialize this first prototype after the experiment. So I mean, not only the measurement error, but also the instability for a longer time in a working environment. So yes, we needed to make another and another iterations of the prototypes that will be solving the problem of long-lasting stability and lower measurement error.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see. So, what is the process of measuring the amount of glucose in blood look like with your device? Because in regular, you have to like take the blood sample of your finger and put it on strip and give to the device, and how it looks in your perspective.
Mhm. Yeah, first of all, I think worth mentioning is the fact that our first device that will be on the market needs one-time personal calibration for the user, which takes up to 60 minutes and requires inputting, making the, let's say, 5 measurements with the traditional strip glucometer and inputting the values to our device. Based on this, the device is setting up first profile of the patient and will be using it in the future. So that's why I'm saying that this is the one time, because this calibration should last for many months. And after you have made the calibration, let's say you can do the, let's say, do the normal measurement. So the patient puts the finger to the device. He needs to remember to steadily place his hand. The device will check if the skin is not wet or the finger is misplaced. If everything will be all right, the green light on the device will appear and the measurement will start. Typical measurement, like I said, takes up to 40 seconds. And during this time, our laser light in short cycles is irradiating on the skin, and our detectors are measuring light refracted from the skin. And based on the light analysis, we can determine chemical composition and also look for a specific fingerprint of glucose molecules in order to provide the results. What is also worth mentioning, for the correctness of the whole operation, for whole the measurement and the safety, our device before and after each measurement is doing so-called self-calibration. Self-calibration is doing a measurement, standard measurement versus a reference substance, in order to be sure that the measurement is correct, because measuring glucose is extremely, let's say, it is extremely important to do it properly, because giving the wrong value could even be no, really harmful for the patient, let's say. The,
Okay.
yeah.
And you mentioned that you have to calibrate your device before you start using it, and it should last something around a couple of months. So, what after that couple of months? You have to go again and do calibration, and you have to switch and rechange your device for the new one.
Well, during our trials, I'm saying a couple of months because this was the longest time the calibration was not changing during our internal test. However, we didn't find the final barrier how long it will take. We just needed to switch to another prototype, so the results was changed to the new device. So uh, we can assume that with this auto calibration and safety procedures, the one-time calibration could be enough for the even whole lifetime of the device. However, uh, according to according to recommendations for the medical doctors and also from the safety point of view, we will recommend to repeat such a calibration, in example, every month, because this is a very important thing to be sure that the device is really working properly. So to be sure, like I said, it will be recommended to make at least one calibration, which will be a little bit shorter, maybe 3 points, not 5, but every month.
Okay, I see. And do you are you thinking about the development of the device that it can be used to tracking any other parameters that only glucose from the blood? Are you thinking about it, or will it change in the future that it can be measure any other parameters?
Uh, yes, of course, this is our method of measurement is generally chemical diagnostics methods, not glucose diagnostic, but chemical diagnostics. So we see many different substances, and measuring glucose is actually one of the toughest to measure. However, we focus on glucose because of its importance in our population. So even we can even say that since last year we use our technology, our technological platform, to measure, in example, creatinine, urea, cortisol, and other factors, so-called health biomarkers, from the skin. But this is other product based on our technology and other product line developed simultaneously.
Okay, I see. And your startup is quite popular, especially in the Poland, because when I was looking some information about you, I saw that the news in Poland, they were talking about your idea. So that's very amazing. And you were told that you are the genius who created the first non-invasive glucometer. So what did you decide to create a device for that practical illness? Why not something else? Why glucose and diabetes?
Yeah, because the problem is the biggest problem that we see in the medical market that is still unsolved. And because of our expertise, we also saw potential way to solve it and provide the device to the market. There's a huge population of patients suffering from diabetes, counting even 20% of global population, and these people are struggling every day with high barrier of diagnostics, so with the pain and discomfort so mentioned earlier. So yes, again, we are experts in chemical non-invasive diagnostics. We had some expertises before. We knew that there are potential methods to solve this problem, and the problem is huge. That's why we decided to focus on it on the first place.
Okay, and because not only adults have diabetes, but also children and teenagers. So, is your device has any age limitation for age limitation, and or everyone can use that?
Everyone can use that. However, not everyone should, let's say, because because the first device is the stationary type of device, so you cannot have the continuous glucose measurement, so 24 hours a day, and so this is the device that is responding to the problem of 95% of the population of people with diabetes, so type 2 diabetes. When we are speaking about children and teenagers, most of them, unfortunately, are suffering from type 1 diabetes. So potentially they require continuous measurement. So of course they can use our device to do the one-time measurements. However, in most of such cases, CGM will be recommended.
Okay, so only for people who has the second type of diabetes. Okay, and because you said this before that you have a trial, the first test on the people went good, and did you launch a product on the market yet, or it is in your plan?
Mm, no, we haven't launched the product yet. This is quite long process. We didn't even expect it in the beginning that it will be so long process, because we are developing this technology since 2018, when we have worked on our first device, and we finished hardware development last year. So it took like 5 years to finish the hardware, and now we are in the stage of testing our device on patients and learning our algorithm working on different populations, because this is the optical method of measurement. So we need to prove that this is working not only on white rays, so the people with the white skin and the structures of the skins available, let's say, in the Central Europe, but we need to also prove that the device is working on the wider audience, including different types of skin structures, skin colors, ages, other diseases, let's say, of people. And in order to do this, we need to do wider clinical trials, engaging many different countries. So currently we are on the stage of preparing such a trials, looking for partners outside of Poland to do it simultaneously, because this is also quite expensive in preparation, maybe not preparation, but in execution. We have applied, and we have applied for a grant from the European Commission. It was EIC Accelerator. We can say that we even won this grant and received the seal of excellence, and now trying to, let's say, launch this grant.
Okay, so how long it takes to adjust all the needed things to launch your product to the market? So when the premiere will be in the future, how do you think?
We expect that after starting a grant, hopefully soon, we would need around 1 year of this clinical test to, from the one side, learn our device working on other populations, adjust our algorithm, and also to prove to the notification body that our device is, according to the law, working on 95% of the available population. So we expect to start the apply for the medical certification in about 2 years from now.
Okay, and when the product will be available on the market, where the people who suffer for diabetes will find this device, and you have to go to doctor and get it there, or contact, for example, with your company, how it will be available for these people.
Okay, it will be available through distribution chains, so potentially in pharmacies or directly from our distribution partners. However, in terms of the availability, when it will be available, like I said, we expect to have a certified device that will be ready for the sales in about 1.5 to 2 years. However, we are very, let's say, we are trying to not set exact date, because in the past we planned to already finish the commercialization in 2022, and it could be successful if the device that was tested in the so mentioned clinical experiment was final. However, during this experiment, the conclusion was that to make another and another versions, uh, and yeah.
Okay, I see. Besides GlucoStation, you also created GlucoFit and Glucowear. And could you tell us something more about solution and about these two devices?
Yes, GlucoFit and Glucowear are the smaller version of GlucoStations, and so after the process of miniaturization. And these devices are scheduled to be launched after finishing GlucoStation, after, let's say, getting the certification for the GlucoStation, because important part of, let's say, principle of operation of small devices is having data from the big device. So the GlucoFit, this is the armband in the size of, let's say, pack of cigarettes that is mounted on the arm. And we did the first prototypes in 2021 to prove that we can miniaturize GlucoStation to something much smaller with, let's say, with our technology. However, like I said, the crucial thing here is to first launch GlucoStation. Because we need data from the first device working on the real market to learn our algorithm for working on the wearable device. And the GlucoWear is a even smaller device that is expected to be a watch. However, this is possible after launching GlucoFit. So yeah, it is much longer time.
Okay, I see. Your startup get many awards and nomination for your amazing idea, and I think that you'll deserve it completely because your device, your job is great, and I think it's helped many people. So, since the beginning, when you started your startup, when you created the idea, you know what to do. Did you assume that your startup, your idea will be so popular, will be so weighted, and be just fine, or you have more negative thinking and not sure enough that everything go well?
Mhm. Uh, yeah, we are very grateful for this awards and the recognition. However, the biggest award for us will be having the first device certified and working on the market in sales. So till this moment, unfortunately, we haven't helped any people because the device is not available widely. However, yes, this is very promising. Our product will have a big potential, and we need enough persistence to get it to the market. And answering your second question, no, we haven't expected. Uh, we could expect because, like I said, the problem is huge. Many people are having diabetes, and almost all of us know the people that have diabetes and potentially know the problem they're struggling with. So mm, this project has a very big social impact. However, we didn't expect it that we will have so good recognition.
Okay, I see. And I think that we can start with the questions strictly connected with you as CEO and your position in the startup world, because you're not only the CEO of GlucoActive startup, but also CEO of three other startups and co-founder of Biocam startup, which was a guest at our podcast. So as the CEOs of such many startups, do you have any hack to handle running several companies?
Uh, well, you cannot run several companies at the same time. This is a myth. You can do it one by one, but not simultaneously because this is too time engaging. In terms of the fact that I'm founder of three, maybe not founder, but CEO currently of the three startups, is not. from the product point of view, this is true because we have three products. However, all of these products are based on our technology that is made in GlucoActive. So these are the other parameters we are measuring. So there's a GlucoActive, which is measuring glucose levels. Using this technology, simultaneously we decided to also start Nurica, which is measuring biomarkers from the skin, like mentioned, creatinine, cortisol, and we have a product line for the industry, for the chemical industry, which is spectrally. And this product is already in sales because, like I said, we finished the technology, it is working. We have first big corporational customers, and we are optimizing the chemical processes thanks to our non-invasive diagnostics. So we can call it as a one big startup with three product lines. In terms of founding Biocam, yes, that's right. I founded Biocam in the beginning. However, I'm not operational currently because I will never find so much time to do so many things together. So first advice is that do only one thing at a time. This is the one thing about the life hacks. Well, our industry is very hard and demanding. It is very difficult to develop new technologies on Polish market, but not only. And in Polish market, it's very difficult to obtain further financing. Everybody are willing to get R&D results very fast, easily, predictable, and enjoyable. But unfortunately, it is not. And I believe that the most important thing to innovate, apart from the idea, scientific knowledge, and the technology, is enormous persistence in pursuing to your goal. So not worrying about failures, being able to draw conclusions from the failures for the future, not look for the, let's say, when who failed, let's say, and perhaps most important is that you need to surround yourself with people with similar mindset, build a community, relationships with them, because you won't get anywhere only on your own. This is the team sport.
Okay, so that was great, and I think that's really inspiring for all people who want to start their business and listening to this. And what is the hardest part of running startup or startups with different devices?
Mm, well, I think lack of stability. mm, and eternal uncertainty, withstanding very high dynamics of action of operations. So you have to be extremely flexible as a founder and startup employee. And yeah, let's to be honest, it's very difficult to make medical devices in Poland, like I said, because the first money you will earn will be after many years if everything will go fine. And the R&D costs are big, and it is not so easy to find investors in the branch where 95% of the startups are closed after 2 years of operation. Hopefully, we are 6 years on the market, so we are after that point. We finish the technology. However, yes, we are. Poland is not mostly known from medical device innovations. We do software houses, we do software startups, and this is what is working here. With the medical, especially hardware, it is much harder. And yeah, despite all of these adversities, I think the founders must boast that we have existed. Yeah, I have to boast that yeah, we are on the market since 2018. So we have shown that we can deal with all of these problems, poor market, different crises like COVID, inflation, war, But yes, everybody that is starting a startup needs to be conscious about that. It will be really hard work.
So thank you for your answers. Thank you for your time. Good luck for GlucoActive startup because I think that we are at the end of our conversation. I have one last question to you. So, what would be your advice for all the listeners who are listening to us and want to start their own business, their own startup? What is your recommendation?
Uh, yeah, from the startup point of view, business point of view, you need to do proper business planning, market research, prove that your technology could work, prove that the thesis that you are making have some probability of success in the future. You need to prove to yourself, but also prove to the external investors, partners, also your employees. From the let's say organizational point of view, you need to focus on constant learning, solving problems and many different crises. Look for solutions, not problems, because this is very often when I hear that the people that are also, many of them are looking for problems, not for the solutions, and this is the vicious cycle. You need to learn to how to cooperate with people and how to build a strong team, because like I said previously, only together you can get through at difficult times. And so I think also when making startup, you need to assume that from now on, so now the day you are starting, for the next 5 to 10 years, or sometimes even more, your life will be a kind of a roller coaster of uncertainty and many fires to extinguish, and of course you have a potential some option to uh, if everything go fine and you have like 1% for us to be a millionaire in the future. However, you have a 99% of chances to start from the beginning. And if you are not ready for this, because this is like playing in casino, uh, if you're not ready for this, I think don't waste your time and go work for corporation. Your health will thank you.
So, thank you very much for advice for our listeners. Thank you for being our guest. Robert Stachurski, CEO of GlucoActive Startup, was here today with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was nice to talk to you.